To the Most High Yah, all praises be to Yah. To His Son Yahweh Shai, our atonement, our sacrificial lamb. We want to give Him honor and praise in this as well. We want to welcome you to another of the ARC DFW, which is the Awakening Remnant Coalition of DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. We want to thank all those who are in this body, in this fellowship, who have come to study today, study the Word of the Most High. And today we just want to recap last week's message talking about love and hate. After the taping or the filming of last week's message, there were some questions that were brought to my attention. And so we want to go over a few words today. This won't be long. It's going to be short and to the point. But I want to bring out some things that I may not have touched base on. Actually, I just want to take the meat that was left on the bone and let us finish eating. Because there's a lot of meat that was left on the bone last week. And there was a lot of things not explained last week. So I'm going to dig straight into Scripture. We're going to go straight to Genesis 25. We're going to dig into this part first. Then we're going to go into the 3rd chapter of Genesis, so we can bring out some things. We're also going to visit First Job. We're going to visit the 1st chapter of Job. We're also going to visit First Peter. So I just want everybody here to just get ready. We're going to do a little Bible calisthenics today. We're going to go through this Torah. We're going to try to make this quick. But I want y'all to take part of this conversation that we're having inside the body, because some of the members are bringing up some very, very vital parts. So I'm not going to be the only one talking. You may not see their faces on camera, but you will be able to hear the commentary. We're going to do this a little bit differently this week. It's not going to be just me running my mouth, so y'all don't have to just hear me. You're going to hear some of the people, because we got some real able-bodied teachers in this this fellowship that can bring some things forth. And on tomorrow, Brother Chauncey, Brother Malak, and myself are going to sit down at a table, and we're going to hash out this thing between love and hate, and we're going to look at it from a strong biblical perspective, talking about how the Most High loved Israel and how He treated Israel when He loved us, and also how showed His disdain towards Israel in Scripture, so that you can understand that there was a difference between how the Most High treated us when we were in His grace and when we were just in His mercy. All right? So we're going to go into, once again, we're going to go into Genesis, the 25th chapter, starting at, I think it's the 11th verse. No, starting at the 19th verse.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son.
Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister
To Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus?
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2
Manner of
people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days
deliver were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red,
all over like an angry, hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand
took hold of Esau's
heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old
when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning
and a man of the field, and Jacob
was a plain man dwelling in tents.
And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison.
But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage. And
Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red
Pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Going into this scripture again, we're looking at the importance of something in the scripture. So I'm going to go back to the part where it talks about, it actually describes Esau and Jacob. You got to be very careful because the scripture really doesn't, it's very important when the scripture breaks down or gives a description of something. It means that you should really pay attention to it. And so when it describes Esau, it gives a physical description, and then it gives more of a, I wouldn't say more of his characteristics or how he acted or how he betrayed himself. So it talks about Esau being red like a woolly garment, but then it talks about how he acted. It said that he was a cunning hunter. And so we went back, Sister Ladiah and I went back and we started fleshing out this word cunning. And I went back to Genesis chapter 3, if you could find it. Talking about the serpent. Now, when we start talking about this serpent, and I'm gonna take this word from, I'm gonna take this straight out of Sister Ladiah's mouth. I'm gonna use something that she said. I don't want y'all to look and think of this serpent as a snake, because we fall into this habit of looking at the serpent as a snake. We need to look at the serpent as this spirit or this attribute or as a witchcraft or a sorcery, because so we can get a clearer understanding of exactly what Eve was facing. Because right now we got this mindset that Eve was looking at a snake, and in all actuality she was dealing with somebody that had the characteristics of a snake. And we're going to really break this down today, so you can get a better understanding. Okay, go ahead.
Now the serpent was more subtle
Than any of these,
of the field, which the Most High Yah had made.
and he said unto the woman, Yea, have Yah said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the
Fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden
Yah has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither
shall ye touch it.
lest ye die.
Look at it in King James.
That is King James.
That is? Okay. So in my scripture, in my text, it doesn't say, it says more cunning. It doesn't say, what did your word use? Subtle?
Subtle.
Or subtle. This word cunning comes from, I'm going to use the 2-letter root. I'm not going to spell this whole word out. I'm only using roots so y'all can understand, because I'm trying to describe the functionality of the word. I'm not using the whole word, so there won't be any confusion in this. I need you to understand that I'm using a root to describe the character, functionality of something. Using this word subtile or cunning, it basically comes from the 2-letter root, ayin, resh. Ayin, once again, resh. Ayin is represented in the Hebrew by the pictographic form of an eye. Resh is represented by the head, and so in this word, it gives you the context of watching or looking at something. It really breaks down to like when you take somebody captive and you strip them of all of their clothes and you put them in a cell and you are posted to watch them. to now, and I want y'all to understand this. When you watch something, it does not always mean it has a negative connotation to it. Designed to be watchmen. So we have this call on us when we get in husbandry. We watch our plants. We make sure that our plants are being attacked by animals or insects or being choked out by weeds or thorns or thistles. We have this assignment to look after those things. So we have this qualification to be a watchman, but it's how we watch. What intent do we have in our hearts when we watch? So when we look at when we were looking at Esau, it said that he was a cunning hunter. Now you understand that the hunter looks at things in a way because he needs to kill it. So his intent when he hunts is to be unseen, because you don't want to be seen by your prey. Why? Because if your prey sees you, then it can flee from you. Mm-hmm. So his very intent in his heart was crafty. When the serpent came to Adam and Eve, or when came to Eve, what he said to Eve was cunning. Mm-hmm. He laid a trap or a snare, much like a hunter. That's where we're getting this comparison, that the hunter is skillful in what he does because he is crafty. Mm-hmm. He also watches the things that he is hunting so he can know its characteristic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Think of this, Hasatan didn't go up to Eve right away. Mm-hmm. He watched Eve and saw how Eve acted, and then he approached her. Mm-hmm. When we become a thorn to the Most High, or we become disobedient to the Most High, and we reject the Most High, it is because we have been very crafty in how we do things. We become very sinful in nature because we become crafty. We've done this to deceive something or deceive someone. This was the characteristic of Esau. And this is what made Esau a thorn, which caused him to be hated by the Most High, because Esau's intents were never lawful. If you look at Job, chapter 1. Well, let's not go there first. Let's go to James, book of James. I want to do it like this. Let's go to 1 Peter.
You, I exalt whom I am an elder, and I am a witness of the suffering of Yeshua HaMashiach, the partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim, which is among you. Take the oversight thereof, not by the constance, but willingly, not for lucre, but of ready mind. Neither as being lords over but being in simple to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Likewise, ye men, commit yourselves unto the elder. Ye all of be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Elohim resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for careth of you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, also a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
So we're looking at how the Most High is telling us how to carry ourselves so that we can then be ready for these attacks, or we can see these attacks of the enemy when they come. And so in dealing with a person that is cunning, we have to be vigilant, we have to be of sound mind, we have to be sober in our thinking, because the enemy has been watching you. And he is seeking on how he may attack you.
Cool.
And this aspect of us, the Most High doesn't like. When Adam and Eve took on this sin nature, or switched into the sin nature of Hasatan, they took on these characteristics. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go back to verse 5. Because it goes back to what you were saying, dealing with Esau. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the older.
Right.
Right? Okay, well, I'm going to make this make sense. Ye all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Elohim resisteth the proud. I want to think about it, when Esau gave away his covenant, it's a sign of pride.
Mm-hmm.
So then when the Most High apparently gave it to the blessing to Yaakov, again, he didn't want to subject to the Most High gave. No. Right. So we see those characteristics.
So what we end up doing, we get into this vicious cycle. That when we don't submit ourselves, or we take for granted, because basically Esau what set y'all off with Esau, and what people don't realize, Esau took for granted what he was born into. In the hands down, this is basically it. All the provision that he was given, all the things that his father had, he basically rejected. And I'm going to show you how I know he rejected it. First of all, Jacob dwelled where? Why did Jacob dwell in him? Because everything that he was needed was there.
It was provided
for him. So he depended on that thing which he received from his father. Where Esau went out on his own. He didn't hurt it. So that ain't your provision. I can do this on my own. You understand what I'm saying? When there's food in the house, I don't go out. You only hunt when you're in need of something.
Go back to verse 3, though.
Go.
Let's go back to verse 3. Neither as being lords over Elohim's heritage. Because again, that's what he was supposed to be. He would have been the Lord over the heritage.
He shunned that. He did not want that responsibility. So when Jacob basically said, look, man. When he came to Jacob, he said, I'm starving. I ain't ate in days. I've been out here hunting. I ain't getting nothing. I haven't eaten in days. Can I have some of that lentil soup that you're making? And Jacob said, yeah, give me your birthright.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anybody else with common sense would have said, no, I'll figure it out.
He wasn't starving. He wasn't so starving his dad.
Yeah. He was in his father's house. Y'all understand this. He was at his father's house. There was no way in the world his father was going to let him die.
No way.
So we fall into the habit of this understanding that, oh, so he came home, he was hungry, and so he sold the birthright. No, the birthright didn't mean anything to him.
That's right. That's what they missed.
it had no significance to him. He figured he could do it all on his own. He wanted what he wanted. Henceforth, dang me walking upright. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be a man of the field, like the beast. You understand when he said he was a man of the field, that means he was never, he didn't want to be at home. Something last minute. I figured I could do it. Joseph was considered righteous because he was in the protection of the house. He obeyed the rules of the house, all the way to the wife. To the will of his father and mother. And that's why I tell everybody, you need to read in Jubilees, because it really talks in depth about how Yaakov carried out his birthright. He was very honorable when it came to his parents. He walked upright when it dealt with the teachings of the Most High. Go ahead.
Question.
Go.
Okay, it just give clarity. So, because when we look at the word that was used for Esau for cunning was yada, right?
Right.
And it says knowledgeable, right? Prudent. Skillful. So that's what he was puffed up.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He knew nobody can. Arrogant in many aspects. Proud.
That even in all of this, even when Yaakov ended up getting the blessing, the first thought of Esau after he found out that he was supplanted and that he got the blessing, what was his first thought? Was to kill his brother. Mm-hmm. To revert back to the same way that Cain treated Abel. It was to go back to that mind.
Also, like an animal instinct of somebody taking something from them. You said he was like a man of the beast of the field. So he was like reverting back to that beast-like mentality where it's like, oh, he took that from me. I need to take it back, so I have to kill him.
Anyway, it went. The birthright was his, and he gave it up. The blessing was his, but he didn't move fast enough to receive the blessing. Rebecca was, boy, his mom was like, I know this dude. I gave birth to him. And even in this, I want to clear this up. We battle, we both have a spirit of Jacob in us, and we have a spirit of Esau in us. And people don't want to come to grips with it, but we do. We have that come inside, all of us do. Where we feel like we can do it on our own. Give a joker some money and see how they act. And then take that same joker and let him have to scratch and dig and work things out on his own. Or work things out and have to depend on the Most High. I'm sorry. Having to depend on the Most High for things. Their whole nature changes. When you give a joker $1 million and he feel like he got it on his own, he'll move away from the Most High.
Because as an honorable thing, being that he had a conversation with his brother and he agreed to give up his birthright, which was already known by the Most High that he wasn't going to get the blessing. But if he would have been an honorable man, he would have accepted that choice.
The decision was his.
It was his.
His brother didn't swindle him out of the birthright. He's like, okay, what is this? How important is this suit to you? Sell me your birthright. For a bowl of soup? All them. I want y'all to realize there were resources available for Esau. We focus on the soup, but we miss something. When Esau got the soup, it goes further into the scripture and it talks about when Isaac was about to die, and he was talking to God, he told him, "Look, go out and give me some of that venison that I like, and fix me a meal because I'm getting old and I'm about to die." Rebecca came right behind him and told Jacob, said, "Look, go in there and get me 2 young goats." There was food there for them to eat. There was something there for him to eat, but he rejected what it was that his father had. "Yo, bro, let me have some of that soup. I'm about to die. Okay, I'll sell it to you. Give me your..." A lot of us get in those positions where those things that we should hold dear to, that the Most High has given us to burn, we reject. We reject a lot of blessings. Look at what we were talking about earlier. I really want y'all to go into that was really deep. We as Israel have given up our birthright again.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize. We've given away our birthright in this country. Refuse to see it because those who have authority over us, the heathen that have authority over us in this land, the system that has authority over us in this land, we have submitted to it.
Yeah. We contracted away. They say.
They have not given us anything.
Exactly.
They will never give us anything.
Yeah, exactly.
What's on your mind about it?
So when he got the birthright, whatever exchange and contract they made for now Jacob to possess the birthright, we talk a lot about why did the Most High retaliate when he did the whole, it looks deceitful, but when you have rights and that type of contract, you get the benefit of. And so the blessing came inherently because he now owns the title to the birthright. So it doesn't matter if he put skin or whatever and how they had to do it for Isaac. That deal was between the brothers. And so maybe his dad would have said no, like you're not, if he would have figured out it was Jacob. But that deal was done, it's set in stone, so he gets the blessing. So when he goes and says, "Do you not have a blessing for me?" Yeah, I do have a blessing for you, but you remember what you contracted out. So you lost your entitlement to this, and you're going to lose the benefit of that as well. You can't have it both ways. So he thought maybe he could get away with that. So that's why he had no punishment from the Most High, and he's witnessing all these things.
But because when you look at it, contract is law, right? So the law is not a respective person.
Right.
So whatever went with that contract, those blessings would go with, right? It would go with the contract.
So if the birthright transfers to you the blessing.
That's right.
So it's kind of like me and you are brothers, and our father gives me an inheritance of land, and I tell you, you can have my land. Well, if there's a house on the land, you're entitled to the house as well. So how are you gonna get mad when you gave up the land
Exactly.
and the house?
Exactly.
All in one place. You can't have it both ways.
You can.
He pulled back from him because he's like,
that's it.
what I'm giving you, do you understand? I made a covenant with your grandfather.
That's right.
Your great grandfather.
That's right.
I made it. Well, with your grandfather, I made a covenant with Abraham, and you're gonna get all of this.
That's right.
It's not just what you think it is. You're gonna get everything that I promised him.
Exactly.
It's gonna go through your bloodline.
Go through your bloodline.
And he was like, so
it means nothing.
It means nothing to me.
Let's look at our people in organized religion. If you tell them that they're Israel,
They would.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't.
It's the same spirit because most of us all came out of what? Church.
Or out of organized religion. Look at when we look at this situation as far as when we say That's a mouthful. When we look at that situation, we also say it doesn't matter if Yeshua was black or white. Well, yeah, it does. Because when you know what nationality he was, then it ties him to a people.
That's right.
And when it ties him to a people, then the authority of that goes back to those people. So when you take and you say it doesn't matter, then if it didn't matter, take down all the pictures that you got of Yahamashiach being a white dude with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Well, like, and then think about his redeeming process. What did he redeem?
He redeemed.
What did he bring remedy to? Right? There's been another transfer since that first transfer from Esau to Jacob. There's been if the transfer has gone back somewhere awry again, a ransom and bring redeeming to the table to solidify the exchange back. So because the only person that we can get right from is the Most High.
Right.
No matter what we try to do. That's why we said earlier, they can't give us rights. The Bill of Rights cannot be applied to us ever because we already God-given rights. And their privilege because they already have been
That's right. Like you said, because rights are given by the Most High. Man can only give you.
Right.
So we just been tricked into taking privileges for giving up our rights.
When we birth,
Yes.
we have our sons and daughters. We get a birth certificate, a certificate of birth. We give up our birth rights for
You give up your
privileges
birth rights
here
again.
in the land.
Say that again.
We give up our birthright to get our privileges here in the land.
To be certified and licensed to operate now.
Same with our marriages, marriage license. It's all over the place.
Think about this. If we were born in this country and we did not have a birth certificate, they then have the right to what?
Send us somewhere.
They can deport you.
Well, they're gonna deport you too, but yes.
Well,
Today there's a big movement, right?
Yeah,
That if you have a place to return to. Now, before the establishment of this authority, our if they say return, okay, I'm gonna. Where's your home? Well, our home is this place or stole this place. So unless you're another nation.
I want y'all to think about this, though. I want y'all to think about this. The whole immigration thing, right?
right.
Now, if you ever notice, when the women that come to this country, immigrants, right? Or let's say illegal immigrants, like they always say, when they have the babies in this country, what would happen? Did they deport the babies? No. Why? Because the babies are tied to the land. They can't deport you. Because you're tied to the land. This is why they don't want them to come over here, because if they have babies here, they're tied to the land.
And it lessens their numbers because we don't think like they do. For the most part, we don't think like they do.
Yes.
We don't function. Our functionalities are completely different. Remember, the beast functions completely different. The beast of the field functions completely different than the person that harvests and gathers.
So, okay, hold on, I'll go with you here. So, when say someone from Mexico, that's a closest border,
Yes.
Canada. Let's use Mexico for the sake of that's the immigration thing. So when the mother brings over a child with her, they can get her to contract and say, I don't have these crossover, but the child, she is underage, you can't contract with the child.
Can't
So
contract
that
with
child stays.
But then when you think of, like I said, so when we look at the women that are here, they begin to have babies on the soil. The babies, you can't separate the baby from the soil because by right. They're naturally born to when if they try to get the mother to give the birth.
And none of us, even though we think we are free, we are not really free. We're more like free agents.
Ages, yes.
Every office we take up here with any licensing certification, whatever, is an actual by their standard agency position, right? Or agents of this authority, right?
Because you gotta think about it. Everything we begin to do, they want to license us out. You know what I'm saying?
We said fishing, right?
Is it, you know, in where you don't have
You only have equitable.
exactly, you have equitable. Yeah, there you go.
You can't fish on your own land without a license.
Exactly. See that?
You can't hunt
On your own land.
You cannot
Because
gain
you own
your
it.
own land.
Yeah.
They're gaming laws. So why?
Exactly.
Because they still have access through contract. You have to make sure you get the complete title.
That's,
and
exactly. That's why you have a lot of people.
And you can buy
all the surface rights you want, but if I own the mineral rights, I can come drill on your land whenever I get ready.
all land patents.
in Colorado. It's
Water rights. Boy, man,
water rights,
ridiculous.
and this is the system that Esau
Exactly.
I get this. We said it. It's done. So he.
So he is going back to the same, so they're meeting at the same table again.
Hey,
Okay,
I got this link.
you're hungry, what are you gonna give me? You can have right, the birthright. And that is what the system has done, it is regained.
The birthright, it has been cut.
And
Crafty, skillful.
and watching, it is a thorn. That's why he is going to destroy everything, because
It's a thorn.
Yeah.
And before he can reestablish his kingdom here on earth, before we even go into this,
this is why husbands always, no matter what subject you preach or teach, husbands comes up, because
it's a binding
contract, it's how the Most High works. And so, what was the first curse that
he put on man. He told us that our
ground would do what? Produce thorns and thistles. Well, what are thorns and thistles? It's Esau.
it is the contract nature of Esau, the system
The system.
that we have fallen into.
Those who have the right of the Most High over and over again. Every year when we get ready to
To plant a garden. The first thing we do, okay, I'm gonna go to this analogy. My wife, when
my wife's parents let us
the house sit for them while they were out of town for a few years, so we just stayed in their house for them. I wanted to grow a garden. Well, the area that I picked in their yard was a nice sized area, and it would sustain a lot of plants that I put on it. Now, the problem with her land, though, the land, my in-laws' land, is that the grass had thorns in it. And I mean not like thorns that you
can walk over and you cool. I'm talking about when you step foot,
if you had on some socks, it would stick to the bottom of your socks. And it didn't matter what you did, what you sprayed, there was always thorns in it. So the first thing I had to do was I had to go back there and strip all the thorns
and all those fishes out of that section
that I was going to plant. And then I had somebody come and turn over the soil. That's what Yah has to do when he returns this time. He is going to remove all these thorns.
He's going to burn them up.
And then he's got to turn over everything to get it back into its most natural state.
mean, so the thorns, you said thorns is our modern day systems that are set up and have the cunning contracting and get us to release our birthright. That's why we have to remove ourselves from that. So when people say talk about, you said it earlier, brother, that if you come up out of there, it's not that we're leaving anywhere. It's unplugging from these contracts. And you say, you know what, you can have this contract all by yourself. Rescind the contract. It's rescinding it. It's revoking your position because most of the contracts have a position of not knowing. You don't know, like you don't. Unlike them, he. And you done contract your child over to them, right? You just think you're doing a beautiful thing between husband and wife and getting married. And you done contracted your marriage with a party, you know that you have an opportunity to rescind it. Right? And that's the redeeming and the remedy position, right? So when we are coming, we're saying no, we didn't plan on yoking. We're gonna rescind all these contracts, and then we get to be separated, and then that's when he cleans you up. He turns to a turn, right? It's a turn over the grave, right? And that's what we're in. We're in this grave mentality of being yoked with another power that has an bondage. We don't have to be there.
You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but when you start studying like the Constitution and all that, you can see a lot of the ecclesiastical principles in it. Even like when we do with commerce, there's 10 maxims of law. When we start understanding contract law, we start understanding ecclesiastical law. Because the whole system is really derived off canon, off the Torah, off the Bible. You know, a lot of the problem with everything is that we have been so detached from our law, from our that we don't understand those principles. And then what happens is the adversary, the system has taken and regurgitated and given it back to us, but he's the contract. He has to fulfill the contract.
So Hasatan has this way of doing things. Hasatan wanted to be the most high. So what Hasatan did was then take the system which he knows, twisted it to where the system suits him instead of glorifying who?
The Most High.
The Most High.
The Most High, glorifying the Most High isn't like restricting the Most
High from doing from you. But what Hasatan wanted
was he wanted all the glory unto himself.
and this is what this system does. It gives all the
glory back to who is
establishing the system.
Because you remember the Most High, he's not respecting
the law applies to everybody. He's no respecter of persons. But in this system, they are a respecter of persons. That is why certain entities in this country get treated
differently than other entities. That's why when
you look at, and I hate to use this,
white privilege,
white folks will never give up that privilege. Why? Because that's all they have. They don't have the privilege. Right.
3 and 1, when Hasatan came in contact with her, it was another exchange of right and privilege, right?
Right.
So what happened after that exchange? They ended up taking on this nature of him. They joined with this craftiness now, and so they got put out of their element. Nevertheless, just like the stranger, when we're in the right side, we're in the capacity of the Most High, anyone that joins into us gets to be part of that righteous path, right? And the same thing, when they're in authority and you're joining in with them, whether, whatever it is, you end up getting their privilege, right? You take out your right, you get their privilege. So that today, like if say if we were in authority and someone of another nation or whatever come over and they want to serve with us or whatever, they would become like the natural form. The same here when we make these contracts, when we certify our children, when we join the military, when we do all these things and yoke with them, we end up walking in we're walking in their privilege, and we become that very thorn to our you gotta figure out that the system is crossing over, and it's one thing though. It's the same, like you said. It's always been one law. Like there's one law or for the natural form, but now they're just in authority. expect that they're getting the blessing of it until roles switch. And the only way you can do that is when you redeem things. That's why, like, you know, when the priests were to tell the people, if you like had an ass or something that was not a clean beast or a clean animal, you had to redeem it with something that was clean,
yeah,
right? In order to now present that. And it's the same thing here. All we have is a for the Most High, so we have to have it redeemed. That's why we have a redeemer. He can redeem all our horribleness that we're trying to do to the Most High.
Yeah, when we really begin to look at the system has mirrored itself in many aspects of the Most High, but not in righteousness.
Right.
You know,
Until it becomes wicked.
And that in wickedness is that thing that does not resemble Yah.
exactly.
So when he put us
Out of the garden, it was not because he hated us.
it was because we didn't resemble him anymore.
That's exactly.
So we had to go
Where we needed to go.
So
which was out to the field.
when we in righteousness we resemble the Most High. He's familiar with us. We're familiar with Him. We can walk upright. But when we take up on things that are outside of the Most High, we resemble the things that we take up on.
Beast
The beast.
of the field.
So what is the mark of the beast?
Being
Why
out.
do we all have more than just literally a physical implant, but it's literally something that's inscribed upon our
Yeah,
spirit?
the way we walk, the way we
Right,
talk,
talk.
the way we carry ourselves.
You get the mark of the beast.
And remember, even when he said that, when they go through that, he says the mark will be on your hand. Well, what should be on your hand?
Your actions.
When the high
The
priest
law.
lays his
The law.
hand-
The law should be on your hand. Grace. The number 5. Grace. The 5 principles of law. What is it? Dietary, sacrificial,
Our moral,
Memorial,
civil,
and
and ceremonial.
So you have ceremonial, sacrificial,
Sacrificial, dietary,
Harry's,
moral, and civil.
all 5 factors.
the law. That's why when people lay their hands on you and they ain't
Walking upright,
you getting a whole different mojo putting on you than you would if
they were walking in grace. When I lay my hands on you,
I'm giving you grace. I'm a representation of the Most High.
I'm passing on.
I'm passing on.
On that grace to you.
So when you dealing with people, when you in a setting that says that the law is done away with,
Don't lay your hands on me.
Exactly.
because if the law is done away with,
Then all of that, which is incumbent to me in the law, in that contract with the Most High, is done away with. So, in all actuality, the church is not lying when they say that the law is done away with because they do not function.
under the principles of the law,
The law.
They
have
have
their own Messiah, they have their own agenda,
because the church is not a place of ministry, it's a business.
Oh, but look at this also. Look at this also. In order to get remedy, you have to have rights. But if you give up your rights, how can you get remedy?
right?
And then if you don't believe in law,
You don't believe in the law. What? Like,
You have,
You have taken on the nature of
Esau, you have basically rejected. The law is something that
you should embrace. David said what? I meditate on this thing day and night.
law, right?
It is
And
part
so
of
the
law.
fact that we keep claiming and calling upon a redeemer, if you don't believe in law, then you can't get your redemption.
you can't get your redemption.
Every time we reject the law, it becomes void. And
Exactly.
that's why he's mad. In fact, look, I did this and you're rejecting the law of redemption. You're rejecting
the law of redemption is basically the law of sacrifice.
well, yeah.
Because he became
Everyone's
the
being
sacrifice.
So we've been redeemed through the
Sacrifice.
There's redemption on so many levels. That's
Yeah.
tort law. It's called
You go to court, whatever the injury is, speeding ticket, whatever it is, you have to pay.
Right.
There have to be a down payment. How much she do?
Down
She
payment.
put out a down.
right?
Right.
He's like, You inherit.
What Bell do?
Oh, when
Well,
people
right? Really said Bell, but guess what?
Baal and Baal, this is where Baal come from, Baal. So when you in jail, you need what? You need to get a bed. You need to get Baal bond. You need to get a bond to get out of the bonds you to the system. Because now you have to make all these appointments.
Wow.
you have to have someone to release you.
Mm-hmm.
And see, we have the same thing in our system too, because the ultimate judge will and always be, because they don't claim to be a judge. They know that they're magistrate. The ultimate judge are the Most High, His Son, and whoever He puts into the seat of judgment, right? Which could be a priest or whatever, authoritative position. But nevertheless, when we needed a bail's bond because we were held captive,
Right.
Whether it was rightfully or wrong, to pay the bail so that we could be bonded out, right? We had to switch the bond over. We became instead of where you were before. So
Hallelujah.
there's a change over in the name on the bond.
That's right.
He came to walk her out. So you can have an example of how to walk her out.
Brother James and Malak was like, I gotta get my brother out. There's position and law authority that he can become authority based knowledge in his representation to go bond you out and get you out. For you and bond out your brother. There's provisions in the law if you know those laws. That's what our brother did. For example, he had to know the position of the law to do that.
Right.
And he had to pay a big significant price.
His
A lot
life,
of people he had to release.
his natural life.
Because even if we look at it historically, because we know Hamashiach, Yeshua Hamashiach, he dealt with the Roman Empire. So we look at the United States. It has built its law of what?
Matter of fact, it is just an extension of Rome. Look, England,
Germany.
They're doing a deep.
if you see an eagle flying in any
Nation's crest. It is basically saying that I am an extension of the first eagle, which was Rome,
Wrong. There you go. Yeah.
We're just doing business under.
under new management.
Alright.
Like that song. We as Israel or Yahshua, we have to realize that we have to. Now, here I go, because I'm a firm believer in this. We have to figure out Torah
That's right.
so we can learn how to release ourselves.
Exactly.
Because Ladaya made a statement Thursday. She made a statement, and I didn't really think about what she said until I was driving.
That's why I do a lot of my studying. While I'm on the road, I do a lot of meditation. Majority of the jail has been
Open for 2,000 years,
Yes, that's
and
right.
we still in prison.
That's right.
Why are we still in jail?
right.
And I'm sitting there thinking about what she said. I'm like,
That's right.
and I went back to that scripture when Paul and Silas
was singing in the prison,
and all the shackles broke off.
but nobody left.
Yeah.
They stayed there.
They stayed there.
It's the same thing here. Hamashiach has released all the shackles, and we're just sitting.
We are.
And in the king's chambers. The lawful definition. Like, why are you still on the milk of go to the another level to receive the meat, right? It's not that it's not. This order has been laid out already, right? He's already put the order in, release those captives. I gotta go take care of some stuff. Y'all go do what y'all need, clean up, come out upright so that we can go meet the Father of the mountain. It's the same stuff.
Coming out of her, like we always say, like I'm a firm component on this because you have to do it the right way.
The right way.
Coming out of her first is a liberation of the mind.
Thank you.
If you don't free your mind up, you exactly. I'm gonna use statement and y'all gonna get mad at me, but the song says
Free your mind.
Free your mind.
will follow. If you don't free your mind, you still stuck on stuff. Exactly. Like you said, though, we talked about I told y'all, man, I ain't always there yet. You remember when you talked about it not long ago? I said, no matter where we go at, we still in the system.
The thing is to free this first. You got to free your mind first. Then your actions will follow.
Because no matter where we go at, if we give
A credence to that, what happens is we already joined to hip with it.
Right. You'll be no more than a Siamese twin to the system. You can separate only so far.
Exactly. When you're pregnant,
When a woman is pregnant and she gives birth, that thing that was in her is still connected to her until she gives birth to this placenta.
That's right.
Until it's cut off.
That's right.
Our need is to cut off from the thinking of Esau. We can't think like Esau. Fine.
Mind, yeah.
And so, and, you know, like, stuff, procedural law, like the faith that you start to test in is bigger than faith. Like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to pray that he gets us here safely. You have faith that he will do that, or you're praying for someone else. The faith becomes in your actions. Your works do line up.
Faith without works is
there's no work. There's nothing to do. Faith connects you to something. Faith is like that.
That tent peg that connects the tent to the ground.
Right, yeah.
So
That is sturdy. That your faith is a tent peg that connects
connects you to Torah.
That's right.
so that everything else that you build and from that point on won't waver.
And so when we look at being a thorn or being crafty or being cunning, we have to take off that mentality.
Of Esau, if we don't free ourselves, we're no more than the thistles that he's going to burn up. And I want y'all to realize something. First of all, you can be in a state where
You're a thistle or a thorn.
That's right.
And you can burn that up. Then he can plant you and you can get some knowledge. And then instead of being wheat, you can turn into chaff.
That's right.
And so then he's got to take and harvest and burn it up.
there are people that fall in different spaces and
Understand it. When we wake up, it does not mean
that we can.
completely awake.
There again, when we wake up, it is not. There are people that are awoke and still free. Just because you know you're Israel, you ain't completely awoke yet. Yeah, that's right. Now you know who you are. Case in point, my mama called me last week, and I give all praise to the Most High. My mom's waking up, and my mom was like, "Baby,
What do I have to do now to get this right? Because my mom has been in the system all of her life.
and
She knows script. And it just took her mind to get jostled for her to say, they talking about me. And so she's calling me, and she's like, baby, what do I need to do? And I'm like, mama, don't worry about everything, because you're not going to get it all right at first.
hell, I'm still working on it, and I've been waiting for 5 years, 6 years. I'm still working on it, maybe 7 years, but
I'm still working on this. I'm
walking this out. I said, but what you do
is try to keep the Sabbath.
That's right.
And then Ladai tried to ruin that
but try to keep
Sabbath. Just let's start up by waking up in the morning on the Sabbath, giving praise to the Most High, and not doing no work.
That's right. That's right.
Let's start there. Then we'll add in not buying anything.
That's right. That's right.
Then we'll add on doing this. Get the Sabbath day work. then we'll work into the dietary laws. Because that's how it worked with me and my wife.
I was still eating pork and keeping it Sabbath.
Trying to, but I didn't know.
How to do it, and I didn't have anybody else to fall on. I'm sitting up there watching her Royal Roots and Kingdom Prepping
Every Shabbat, trying.
to get it right, trying to figure it out because I didn't have nobody else to turn to because nobody else was in this walk.
And I didn't feel like nobody else was going.
Going through the same struggle that I was going. Watching the videos ain't always good. You gonna have to face it, and you gonna have to walk this thing out. We didn't hear you talk about that a week ago. We could keep making the videos, right? But until people start seeing us walk out, it ain't gonna matter. This is why I had to leave my job because I'm gonna start showing people how to walk out. I mean, like for civil law, there's a whole bunch of civil law. People, remember you just go around and
There's parts of these laws that you don't really start dealing with people until you start going outside.
right.
And the court system, right? There's a whole facet of fear there, but that's where you need to test your faith, right?
Exactly.
And you do this 3 times a day, so you can catch me wherever you want to. That jail's not, and that of it, their judges or their magistrate or their authorities, that our authority will always stand with me. I will always stand with you.
That's it.
Well, this sister just mentioned something that she said, like I said, that they're dealing with the court system, and I tell people this all the time, because I've done a few civil law videos, and I tell people all the time, I'm not telling you I don't practice law, I'm not telling you what to do, follow me, but that's where you need to test your faith at, because most of our people will get in their car, drive down the street, and they say, I walk around. Because you have to get rid of that fear. I've been to court for speeding tickets, beat them. See what I'm saying? I tell people, but what
because they're gonna know that fear in you if you.
Right.
they can smell it, they can smell it.
But you have to start somewhere.
Hasatan, when we look at the scripture, when we were looking at that scripture in James, he was telling us how to build ourselves
That's
up.
right.
To basically buck the system.
Exactly.
So that we can work in a sober
Mind and an humble spirit, so we can then discern those attacks of the enemy, and we can see his
cunningness, because the Most High is cunning.
Now, go to Job.
Go to Job, first chapter of Job. I wanna show you something.
Yeah, to be cunning is not the bad thing.
It's not
it's for what purpose you use your cunning.
It's your purpose.
Yeah.
It's your purpose.
So you'll serve with your cunning way.
And I want to
Prove a point. Go to
Job chapter 1, verse 6. Go through 6 through 12.
Now there was a day when the sons of Yah came to present themselves before the Hamashiach, and Hasatan came also among them. And Yah said unto Hasatan, Whence comest thou? Then Hasatan answered the Most High, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it. And the Most High said unto Hasatan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, and a perfect and upright man, and that feareth the Most High, and eschewelleth evil.
Okay, hold on.
Do you understand that before anything happens to you, Hasatan has
Get permission before he can fool with you, which means then that the Most High is in charge of the spirits of good and the spirits of evil. So when evil comes upon you, that's why half the time it's like, look, dude, he gave me the authority to do this to you. But it goes back to this. When the Most High says he didn't give us the spirit of fear,
Right? So if you
have the spirit of fear, it's because you're outside of his protection. Don't say protection. It's great. It's great. Don't say it's great. Exactly. So if you're outside of grace, that means you are breaking his covenant. You have broken his covenant somewhere, right? Because one thing I know about the system, no matter how much we fuss, we groan, we complain about the tax, we complain about whatever the system.
is designed by contract. And in that contract, they got to remain in what? They got to remain in honor. The problem with our people,
We don't understand the contract. They're operating in honor. They're wicked and shit. They're wicked as hell, but they're operating in honor. So what happens? We be given new rights for it.
yes,
well, look at it. Look at this. Have you ever noticed that when these Western countries were fighting against each other, there was one thing that they never did. When Russia were fighting, when England and Germany were fighting, they may kill each other, but they would never make slaves out of one another.
that's right.
They would never make slaves out of one another. Because there is a certain level of honor in a man when you are not a slave to another man.
That's right, that's right.
When we took captives from another country, that's why the Geneva Convention was really set up. So look, if you take my brother captive,
In war, there's a way you need to treat him.
Repeat that.
When you take my brother captive
In a war, there's a certain way that you need to treat him.
him,
I'm gonna ask you one question. We'll see if you picked up on what you just said too. What year was the Geneva Convention signed?
you gonna ask me some food. I know the
It was signed in,
48.
no, it was signed in,
1948.
That's what I said.
oh, you said that?
and that was the year.
That they established Israel as a state and as a country. And the thing is, they established
Okay, so first of all,
Ashkenazim, the Ashkenazim or Ashkenazim, that word really breaks down in German. I mean, when you really look at the word,
it really means German.
That's right.
They don't speak Hebrew, they speak what? Yiddish.
or they speak Deutsch or German. They don't speak Hebrew. They speak a bastardized form of Hebrew, almost like the Spanish I speak. Right, Andy? I know a couple of words in Spanish, and I may throw them in. They may land right, or they may land wrong. You know Spanglish. I don't even know Spanglish, because I don't know that many words. So they gave a land to the Ashkenazim that was not even theirs.
Is basically turning the land back over to the Idumeans.
So that's exactly what they did. They
Took it out of the
rightful hands of the people that were in the land. Because don't think that some of those Palestinians are not Hebrews. That's something that we got to come to grips with.
we know according to
Scripture that when
Rome ransacked Israel in 70 AD that we left and went south.
we did not leave and go north. Why? Because Rome was deep in Assyria.
They were partners, they were allies.
Right, they were allies. So we went straight south, and we ran into those countries.
What is
Zephaniah 3 is basically daughters of his dispersed across the rivers of Good. So we went back into the land.
Further west.
See, think about it. When we get shofars ain't nothing but kudu horn. Where do you get the kudu from? West Africa.
Yeah.
So we went back to them people that were like us.
Now, they're going to argue the fact that they're Hebrew, but
None of their genetic makeup, even during these tests, these DNA tests, link them back.
yeah, it always been back in Poland, Austria, Germany, Denmark, all in the Western Hemisphere.
It does not lead them back to Israel, to Yasharella,
That's right. That's right.
or to Northwest Africa. Hell, I got more Northwest
Africa than them. And my bloodline is
honestly, no lie. My
bloodline takes me all the way back to Ramses III. I can honestly say that I'm a blood descendant of King Ramses.
through DNA. I can say it. So I know where
On my father's side of my family leads me back to that point.
where in Northwest
Africa. Well, what was it? Northeast Africa. Who was all in Northeast Africa? The Hebrews. They mixed with
with them.
Yeah, exactly. The king says, yeah.
We were there for 400 years chilling.
That's right. That's right.
So we mixed with them people.
Mm-hmm.
Manasseh, Ephraim. They were part Hebrew and Hamite.
Joseph's sons. That's right. That's right.
I mean, we got to understand that the system is meant to choke out the people of the Most High. And there were several places through Scripture where they had these tumults and they got together. This is not something that just came overnight.
They thought about this. Yeah, they calculated this.
Now they're just getting
We've been in captive 7 times.
How many times do it take a person to get something when you tell it to them? 7 times.
Yeah. So this is it.
This is it.
like you said, when Rome took over the first time and the major authority of Israel, after they had wiped it out, they reestablished Jerusalem, right? And they sent their generals or whatever to sit in position there, right? So here we have Jerusalem again, and they have their people they want to put in position there. It's always the same situation.
Well, when we look at a lot of the historians when they wrote, they said that was the whole thing, that Catholicism, they had to seek out us to take that covenant from us.
Right.
They know that. They knew who we were no matter where we went at. They knew who we were from the beginning.
You ever notice, if we even use their philosophers and their teachers, you ever notice that a lot of people will not quote the the Jewish historian Josephus? Because Josephus cut
Straight and plain. Josephus will tell you that
the Hebrews were black,
That's right.
that they were a dark-skinned people. Hell, when they say somebody was olive complexion,
unless you look like Kermit the Frog, an olive is black.
hell, when they took us into Idumea,
Took us into Rome, into Spain, into
Portugal,
Exactly.
you can see the pictures and the descriptions of us there.
What is that? What was that book that you had us read in class? That was
The Jews of Spain, Portugal, and
Yeah.
Inquisition. Yes.
So to read that
Yes.
and how they described the difference
Exactly.
between the Hebrews that they were dealing with and imprisoning, and trying to get them to convert, not convert. How do you convert from being the
Exactly.
tribe of Jew?
Right.
Put their mark, or they kill you, and transferring their Jews to the Christianity, trying to make that a religion.
I want y'all to
How
think about
many years was the Inquisition? It was 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people that were what we would call, I don't even call them Sephardim, because a lot of them were Sephardim. A lot of them were really us. that were captured and brought back. But if you take
those Hebrews that escaped into Northeast Africa, into
northwestern Africa now, into
Algeria,
Morocco, and all those places, and
they
then
had to push down further through sub-Saharan Africa into Mali. We
carry all those bloodlines in us back to the States. And they know it. When they
came to capture slaves. It was, look, they could have went to Japan to get slaves.
Exactly.
They could have went any place else to get slaves. Why did they come to West Africa? They knew we had a tie to the land. They knew we had an inheritance. And the scripture tells us that
the world will be blessed through us. So every civilization that had power had us in there at one point or another.
Yeah.
Like you
Cry
said,
out and get the power back.
every civilization, every nation that ever ruled the world, they had us in captivity. Right?
yes.
So I'm saying one time or another. When we look at like you said again, you said about the our people coming from going to the west coast of Africa, right? And we see the trade routes that our ancestors took. You know, one thing that also stuck out to me, like you mentioned, the Inquisition. I'm trying to bring all this full circle. In there's a I forgot what it is, what the book is at, but anyway, in 1724, there was a code that was passed called the Christian Black Codes of 1724, that all the slaves had to take upon the slave master's religion was Christianity, they had to celebrate the holidays. When we look at the Inquisition, that's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And also think about this
That a lot of people don't touch base on. They never show documented pictures or drawings from that period because there was a reason. Because they don't want you to know who they were killing.
That's right.
Because
because if they show them killing us, then
look,
That's why they always say the Christians.
thank you. And then just like now, they do not want Israel to be a
part of Africa
when
it is geographically
a part of Africa. You can't take it away. And that's why they made these Egyptians in all these movies and even in these classes white, even though the walls say different. That's why they keep trying to separate Egypt from Africa. Because if they separate Egypt from Africa, they can control the narrative that the Jew was white. And the fact of the matter is the Hebrew was never white. If you go back to his race, the Hebrew always mixed with the Hamites. They weren't supposed to mix with the Canaanites, but they always mixed with the Hamites. If you look at all the nations around them, if you look at Libya, if you look at Egypt,
If you look at Kush, if you look at Iran, if you look at
they were all black nations. The people in the middle just be white, and all the people around them are black. It was not until the time of Julius Caesar
moving into the land and his generals and all them sleeping with these women that we started seeing the breakdowns of color. That the Persians and the northern
northern Indians started taking on this lighter, more fair complexion. Well, I can't even say fair because they just burn until they bleach out. But what that means, I don't think about this too.
the land of the land of Babylon, king of Babylon.
shoot, Nimrod. And
Nimrod.
was a Cushite. Nimrod was an Ethiopian.
Ethiopians ran Sheba or Shinar,
Which was on the Saudi Arabian continent or the Saudi Arabian peninsula of Africa, and it's only a 45-minute boat ride across that strait that will lead you back into the mainland of Africa. There was Kush on one side and Kush on the other side. When
that means y'all would have to read some other books, and it's not in canon. So I don't want to go into that story. But know this, that Moses was, I can't say it.
Moses was a pharaoh.
Moses
Was a pharaoh good. How you gonna say Pharaoh called, but then he don't receive the benefit of being a pharaoh? That's why we need Negroes, man, with the camp doctrine, everything.
Because they're doing exactly with the power.
That he wanted to separate the land from the people.
They got to stop.
I want to say this so bad. I really want to say this so bad.
I'm gonna say it. How do you think Moses was allowed
An audience with Pharaoh if he did not have a title? Me and you
can't go to the White House?
and just walk in on Donald Trump and say we want to talk to you.
That's an authority.
Yeah, there has to be some.
Authority.
So when Moshe showed up, even though he was supposed to be put to death, even though that they forgot about, he still had authority. How did
They know his name was great because he existed in that house. He ruled over the southern province of Egypt.
for 60 years until he just gave it up and moved into Midian?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they asked him to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's the storyline that you won't get if you just read Genesis, because Genesis is more like a
Compact.
It's over.
right.
Compact block.
You're not gonna get that meat. You're just gonna get a touch.
That's right.
So I want to close, and I want to say this: the system is cunning. He who is placed to administrate over the system in this realm, Hasatan, is cunning. His generals will look and act and sound like him. How will you know when somebody is walking in the truth and walking in the system? Because they sound, act, and do like the system. Listen, the church, I'm going to tell you this now. The church is just as much of the system as the government. There is really no separation between church and state, because there is no
Separation between church and state. Because if you got a 501c3, you are in link with the government, and the government will tell you what you can and cannot preach, or you will lose your tax exempt status. The government ain't looking to get Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, and none of them jokers.
Paula White.
Paula Dean, none of them folks. You know why? Because they are agents of the state. They are brainwashing the masses to keep them in line. Religion, organized faith, keeps you in line and subject to the system.
The Most High did not
Teach religion. He gave us a lifestyle, and he gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to follow. Say it, Andy.
Unfortunately, today the system is our shepherd,
Wow.
And it's
Wow.
the shepherd.
That's right. That's right.
And we're the child.
and we are being led to the slaughter.
Yes.
And it's funny because, they did say the law correctly. There is a separation between church and state. But those churches are not the church.
Sons and daughters, kids. What is a kid?
A good.
Goats.
The baby goat.
And then if we were the state, what happen to you? If you were the state?
Oh,
They own our kids.
They own
We're
our
sending
kids.
them to the slaughter.
And guess what?
And it's funny because you said something, I think, I don't think you know what you said, because you said they're in the position of administration. The canon law, the law structure is always the same. It's about the person who's in authority, who we give our authority to. The authority, we know who the authority is.
Right.
The judges, 924, right? The judges, they're the ones on the evil side. So they're in a position of administrative authority. Well, they're the secretary authority outside. Then you see why their priests are making the sacrifices with the kids. pigs, the goats, and they keep in their law, right? It sounds like cattle, right? Treating as beasts, right? And they will make it. Whatever they do, and they sell.
Lawfully. It may
That's like slavery. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no matter how we look at it, slavery is lawful. Slavery is lawful. There's a law for slave. Slavery is lawful. But the treatment of slaves was wicked as hell. That's the point. The treatment of these slaves were wicked as hell. That's the whole point.
Slavery was not wrong.
But the treatment was wicked. Because you were breaking every law. You were prostituting these slaves. You were raping these slaves. You were sexually immoral with men slaves and
Female slaves, you were selling their
kids. I'm sorry, I gotta get this point out. Everything that they did in that system, even though
slavery was
lawful, they were wicked. Because if you
notice, they always focus on
the word slavery, they never focused on with the condition and how they treated people. They said slavery, but they never go to. If you go to the condition, then you have
to bring like to the Geneva Convention. That's why they had to bring it at.
You have the crimes against humanity. You have to bring it. They don't want to do that because then they would have to pay retribution. But they can't pay retribution because we've already been redeemed.
say it again.
Redeemed.
We've already
been redeemed. That's why they don't want to pay us retribution. They'll pay the Indians retribution. They'll pay all the so-called Jews retribution for that. But they
don't want to pay
reparations for slavery because they know we have already been redeemed.
And then at the same time too, we just have the law of the slave. But see, the scripture is dealing with man, right? This law is for the law. We're upset how they dealt with us as in slavery. Well, they didn't look at us like we were. Beast.
right.
Until you come out of your beast mode.
Exactly.
We talk about that. But the thing, how these people put everything in our face, I want y'all to think about it.
They say that
We had to fight, all that to fight for civil rights.
civil rights, right? So if you're fighting for civil rights, that means you are what they call civilly dead.
Right.
If you're civilly dead, you're civil little more than tools. That means you're dead in the view of the eye of the law.
We don't have to follow law.
Put grace on grace. They make you apply grace to grace. And then swear, which the Bible tells you not to. Not to swear an oath. So everything that you do when you go into the court sets you up for the penalty. It does not set you up for freedom. It sets you up for the penalty. And then they wonder why we don't need to represent ourselves in these lands. That's why we need to start crying out and repent. And nobody wants to repent. We're teaching about being mad and going on Esau. Let's get this. Yeah, we're going to kill Esau when we just met. They doing exactly what they were meant to do. They are the best CEOs that ever came in the prison system. There ain't gonna be no Cyrus. There ain't gonna be no King Cyrus, and then they want to sit up here and equivalent Donald Trump to King Cyrus. That man ain't no damn King Cyrus. He's not King Cyrus. He's just a businessman. And that's why they wanted him in charge, because the government is a business. And the church is a business. The first thing Donald Trump did was
he met with a bunch of black preachers
and he made a business deal.
to re-solidify this 501c3.
Listen,
bro, if I'm gonna be the man, I'm gonna get in this job. You need to get your churches to line up.
you can say whatever you want to say. That's why we don't meet on their day.
That's why we don't worship
The way they do, because
we know that we
are already in the book. We have an inheritance.
have a redeemer.
Now
It's just that we have to
have our minds right so we can move out from here.
he's gonna gather us.
But he ain't gonna gather people whose minds ain't right.
That's food for thought. What would that look like? I want y'all to think about this. What would that look like if we all, whatever doctrine or whatever, one Shabbat, or that not only that one high holy,
We all met on a phone
We all met.
and cried out. It was,
I'm gonna be honest with you now.
I'm gonna say this, and a lot of people may not agree with me, but it was forced to
Try to act. It would force y'all to act because
He would hear us.
he would hear us.
Why did J. Edgar Hoover say that he had to
Kill a black Messiah.
So what's that health
Tell quo pro.
yeah, a quick pro.
Tell
it was a COINTELPRO. Yeah, COINTELPRO. He had it set up that the FBI and the CIA, they would kill every person
person that they feared to be a black Messiah.
because if they got rid of them, he could not unite us as a people. They weren't even afraid of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was not an issue to them.
Until he switched.
Right.
Until he switched. Until he started talking about that Cesar Chavez stuff. Exactly. You know, look, I'm gonna give it Cesar Chavez and we're gonna unionize. Remember when Martin Luther King,
Martin Luther King tried to get some other people to go over there to Israel.
you know what I'm saying? And they started changing on them too.
They don't want.
Us to be in this script.
Yeah.
They want us to go.
By the narrative. Why are they afraid of Torah? Why are they afraid of the Old Testament? Because if you read it and
You start to understand it, then you will know that you
aren't who they say you are.
are.
I tell my brothers and sisters and all these other doctors this here. If the Bible is so fake, why is it that they killed Martin Luther King? Why is it they killed Malcolm X? Why did they do what they did to Marcus Garvey? All these brothers, and they stayed in the Bible. You don't think they ain't never done nothing, none of these people, guys. They ain't never done nothing, none of these Moors guys. They never done none of these other people. They actually tell you that the Bible is something unique.
They know.
See what I'm saying?
Look, they know. Why do you think the Ku Klux Klan have an issue with the Jew? They're not concerned about the Ashkenazim. That's the least bit of their worries. They're concerned that the black man that wakes up and knows that he's a Hebrew,
That's right.
they fear him because they know that
They are subject to that man.
in the rule of white supremacy.
Is to tell you that white people are superior. Listen,
I'm not going through this to be racist, but I want you to understand the white person is recessive in every one of his ways, from his eyes
down to his hair, down to his skin color.
hell, the
Highest selling beauty product in Israel today.
day is sunscreen.
So exactly.
How in the hell you gonna convince me that you from the land, but you need sunscreen to protect you from the sun?
That's right.
That Shem picked the land. So if he picked the land, he should have. He picked the land that was good for him.
Exactly.
The sun hates you. I'm just saying. It does. It hates your skin.
Anybody got a penny?
The sun is the ultimate energy source.
Oh, yeah.
Like the planet.
See, the sun don't kill black folks.
It helps us. I'm asking. That's bronze.
That's bronze.
I'm asking, so forgive me. I'm probably running around. Yeah, I'm asking. That's bronze. The same color as me.
Revelations tells us
That the Messiah's feet were like what? Bronze, burned in a furnace.
I'm not black.
I'm darker than mostly everybody in this room, except my wife.
That he said that because I actually looked at our arms.
And I'm the same color as
This penny. I'm a bronze man.
I'm the same
Color as Messiah. The Shemites
with bronze people.
So how in the world you gonna say you Semitic and you anti-Semitic? How am I anti-Semitic?
I mean, yeah, I didn't even think about that until recently with us saying, like, the anti-Semitic punishments and crimes that they render that's one of their high target priorities to reprimand. And I was like, wait, it's not home. We're not anti-Semitic.
Semitic.
That's the hope.
But
that's
they
why
can't. You know, so there's a thin line.
So I'm gonna take Genesis. I'm gonna take Genesis 6.
Is that where we going or Genesis 10? Table Nations.
10. It should be Genesis 10. Table Nations should be 10.
I get those two mixed up. I'm dyslexic.
Let's go to.
Right.
I can claim it. It's the truth.
I think it's Genesis 10. Genesis 10 and 1. Now these are generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, and Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tarish. And these are the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz.
So that right there shows me that you ain't Semitic. You are not a Semitic people. You are a descendant of Japheth.
You are descendant of Magog.
Magog was a German.
Ashkenaz.
But you.
And if you ask any, I mean, I
That's
got
why
a
they
lot
got
of
the term.
When I talk to some of my Jewish
well, I can say Jewish. My Jewish friends, because I have a lot of friends that are,
and I'm not mad at them.
they try. They try. When I talk to them, what tribe you from? You'll get this, dude, the number you have reached is no longer in service.
Yes.
Because then they can't tell you a tribe.
Exactly.
But then you say, well, I'm Ashkenazi. Well, let me show you in the script. So you a convert.
That's right.
You ain't, your bloodline don't
Take you there. Your beliefs do.
I've done that before.
But see, I'm blood.
That's right.
My blood is from Abraham.
That's right. That's right.
Well, let me go back. My blood
It's from Egypt, which makes
me a Hebrew.
That's right.
But I come through the
lineage of Yaakov, which
makes me an Israelite. So I'm blessed through a bloodline.
it has nothing to do with being converted. I was born into this.
so-called Jewish man at the gas station one day. He had his Star David, and he had his yarmulke on and stuff like that. And I was sitting there at the counter getting my pay for my stuff, and I looked at him, he looked at me, and I just said, he said, "Oh, you know how to, you know a little Hebrew?" I said, "Yeah, you know, I know a few words here and there." I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He says, "Yes." "What's your question?" I said, "What tribe are you from?" Ironically, he said he was a Levite. I said, "So you're a Kohan, you're a priest, right?" So he said, "So did he stop?" Now you know.
And I say, you also your preacher is Kohan. So now he's like, he's kind of
Stepping back now.
I just stepped on the landmine because now I got somebody about to ask. I said, well, was mine below me about the fact that you say
You a Kohan, you come from the line of the priesthood. I say, you know, Moses and Aaron. I said, you know, Moses stayed in Pharaoh's house, and you know the Egyptian were black people. And he's done after that. You can see the look on his face, like, he don't want to talk now.
Is it not true that when I think during the Babylonian, or was it the Babylonian or it was one of the captivities that they took that they left. That's close. That they left and took the Ark of the Covenant and went back into Africa. It was.
Yeah, you talking about when I think when they who that was got the Ark of the Covenant from him? I think they,
Right.
yeah. I'm trying to remember which yeah. I can't remember what scripture that is. Yes.
But what we're saying is the Kahanu, okay, for instance, we go through the scripture. Go to Exodus where the Most High was giving the signs to Moses.
Give the sign to Moses.
To Moshe.
What does it say exactly in the scripture?
Where it talks about Moshe putting his hand inside of his shirt and pulling it out.
Oh,
and throwing
okay.
the staff. Probably when he went.
Okay.
There's one right there.
I lost my city. I forgot. Give me a second.
We're looking in Exodus, baby, where the signs.
Verse 6.
Okay, so go to Exodus 4, verse 6. Well, just start at the top of Exodus 4.
And Moses answered
And said, "But behold,
behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Lord has not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto them, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from
before it.
That was us, boy. That's one of us.
And the Lord said unto
Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by thy tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and became a rod in his hand. That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, and the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
hold up. Now,
We can go through laws all day, and we can go through teachings all day. The Mormons said that the curse that was put on Cain was that Cain was turned to a black man. So I'm going to show you something. We know that Moses had to be a man of color. And how do we know that he was a man of color? Because when he stuck his hand in his bosom and pulled it out, it was then white or leprous. Leprosy, we want to say that leprosy is when you break out in scars, bumps, and boils. That's what they want you to believe. But leprosy is more like vitiligo. Lose pigment or losing the color of your skin. Leprosy is the removal of this beautiful, perfect, life-giving melanin that's in your skin that protects you from the sun and all this other stuff that brings forth life to you. What it was showing is that we as Hebrews were a dark-skinned people, period. And even when he showed this sign to the elders in the land, he was standing over almost 600 people. So they had to be able to notice the difference between his hands being black and then being white. It's a dead telltale giveaway.
It says like he got leprosy temporarily, right?
Right.
And when people that had leprosy, there's a sickness, right? And when their skin was like whatever is happening, then there's a lack of strength there. So that's why it's taking over them. And right, the priests are figuring out what their strength level is,
Right.
and put them somewhere until it gets figured out, or until it heals itself. And that's what they know you're going to stay with that level for the rest of your life. And sometimes it was like it could be, whereas like it could be changing and some blood and some. So it just depends. But the skin. You know, we talk about how this is the biggest organ of our body, right? It's our biggest. So if this was tainted for a second for him, he's showing your protection. This is your protection is there is not there. So and it's funny that he puts his hand in his bosom, right? Right. And I'm going into all this. And outside things coming in, functionality. But if you are the recessive side of it, you don't have as much protection. That's the difference in between the two. So it's kind of symbolism. It's interesting how that is playing out.
And so what keeps us inside is our ability to stay separate from the system. To not be like Esau, or not to take on the characteristics that Esau, or revert back to what Adam. Let's take Esau out of it for a second.
Beastly.
Let's just stop being beastly and acting like animals of the field.
Because the thing that, not that, we're not saying that beasts are bad. Because when he created them, he said it was a good thing.
Right.
The fact is, they don't have the spirit of Yah in him. That's what's the difference. Is that he made all the beasts of the field, and then when he decided to deal with his man that he was going to put his life into, he breathed his spirit into him. And his spirit is the Ruach, the Ruach is always been the Holy Spirit, and always been Ruach. So there's a different Ruach that's now inside of you, and how you represent your life, right? And you can walk in that. When you decide to get out of that law, then you go back and revert to it has no law.
That's the difference.
And so we're a beast until we come and let the redemption cover us and to walk back.
What that is in Proverbs, I can't remember 9 or 6. It says, might be 13. It says, they shall see themselves as beasts. Because when we look at like the Ladai said, when we look at law, the law is not only there to protect us, but it's a form of a contract between us and the Most High. When we look at the beast actually represents, they do things natural and they don't operate within law. You'll see a dog hump on a, but in law with the Most High, we are governed by these things that keep us from having these things that are outside His grace, outside His mercy. You know what I'm saying? So yes, but so when we, as Israel, when we failed because we didn't revert back to the law. we wind up mirroring the beast.
What's ladies, you're in Torah, right? Sip and read. What's the penalty for bestiality?
Death.
Right. So I mean, yeah, no one.
The system is setting up laws to where we are immoral. Exactly.
So it's cool that man lay with man or woman lay with woman,
Yeah.
and we call this a marriage. This is
Yeah.
not a marriage.
Yeah.
I don't care who you sleep with.
That's not my thing. I like women. That's not my thing. And I don't care who you speak with. That's your business.
Exactly.
Because you're going to have to pay that price. I'm not.
That's right. That's right.
But as far as me and my house, we going to serve y'all on this. Now, but the laws of the land
Are so immoral and so against what
what scripts say, and then they'll throw up, man, they just throw up Samuel,
Well, remember
where it
there
comes,
are laws. But when they make these different things, yeah, they say they're laws, but it's in this bill, the Patriot
Right.
Act,
Yes.
these amendments, because the you know the
Yes.
Bill of Rights.
real law. Exactly. The law can be changed.
They're making.
The amendments, yeah.
Right, they're really they're making, they're letting you abide in their realm how they see they want to govern. Now, the law is
Lord, yeah, Lord,
You're- follow through any of the laws there. You know, so universal law, y'all give them law or whatever. The office, they're like, yeah. Rule of, and it's the thing, and I say that because right, and there's a coming together of that. You do.
we partake in we partake in bestiality spiritually.
Right,
in the
absolutely.
spirit.
You know what I'm saying?
Not a physical.
The
Yeah.
physical, yeah. I know what
When we say come out of her, basically we need to come out of this Western
They're referring to a functional Hebraic mind, a secular mind, a secular mind.
that rotates like the seasons rotate.
That's right. That's right.
And we do this so that we can have periods of preparation, periods of rest, periods of renewal, He does this on purpose.
That's right.
But the Western mind is a straight line thing. They have a straight line cause, a straight line goal. We don't operate that way. That's why the system don't fit us. That's why we're like, it don't work for us because our mind, our body.
Even though he was and Rome invaded and took the land, he still was not, even the way he was in the system, he was not part of. Until he come back and rule on the throne, you know what I'm saying?
So basically, we don't have to act like Esau. We don't have to be this cunning person. We can operate and still exist in the protections of the Most High when we act like Jacob, upright and smooth and quiet.
That's right, that's right. That's right.
A quiet man can listen, and he can hear his instruction as it is given unto him. Look, he wasn't down with what Rebecca was telling him to do, but he knew that had to have come from the Most High. And so he knew he was subject because he was in his father's home, and he was still subject under the authority of his mother. So he carried out what.
Right, the law of the mother.
rejected her. That's why he did what she told him to do.
That's right.
Which was lawful.
And obedient.
And like you
She
said,
would take, I'm gonna take this out of the most.
So any penalty is going to be on me because I am telling you to do this and you're obeying under my authority.
Now, we're closing. So, I'm thankful for everybody. We're still going to get together tomorrow and hash out
Stuff for y'all to see on video.
once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank the congregation for being here to fellowship with us. And I love when we have these roundtable discussions because I feel like we all get a chance to eat and we all get a chance to hear. Now, I'm going to have to do some talking to some of the members so that you can see everybody's face because some people don't feel like they want to be seen, just heard. So, but I want y'all to understand that this fellowship is full of teachers. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please come with us, come visit with us, and just come and sit and eat at the table, man. I mean, to me, it is the most fulfilling thing I've done in my 48 years, and I've done quite a bit. So I want y'all to also know that the weekend of we will be in Kansas City, Missouri.
Weekend of the 30th.
I'm leaving on the 30th, but
There's no 31st in August.
oh well, on the weekend of the day of the 30th, we will be in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'll be with Yoshiyahu, Netanyahu, and Holda, and a bunch of people from the Ark of Fresno, and we'll be teaching for Brother Caleb, who is in that area. He's got a small fellowship, and we're going there to help support him. I hope that some of the members here can take that weekend and come up. It's an 8-hour drive for anybody that wants to know or to go. And there's also hotels there.
And tell the story, it is on the 31st.
Huh?
It is on the
I
31st.
thought so. So on the 31st of August, we will be there ministering. It's a long weekend, so we don't have to come straight back. We're going to leave that Monday morning. But everybody here in Dallas area is welcome. Look at the ARC or the Awakening Remnant Coalition page for more information. Also look at Moreh Yoshiyahu's teachings. I think he did a teaching yesterday from Psalms 19, and at the end he'll give all that information. I will also, at the end of our teaching today, when I do the video, I'll also include the information so you'll know. So we want to thank you for tuning in with us and to be a part of our family. I want to also thank Akoti, Monica Anderson, for your questions and for all your comments to help me go back and want to revisit and hash through this. I hope this was a blessing to somebody, and we want to thank you once again, and y'all be blessed. Shalom, shalom.
We give you all the praise, give you all the praise.